Hi, I'm SB. Everyone's having a joyful day. Now, I'm going to show you how I'm going to draw this young woman on the screen. So I'm not going to do exactly. I'm using permanent marker type things too. So no pencils or anything like that. So we're just going to do it just rough. And when I say rough, is it doesn't have to be exact. It's not about being exact. Um, anyway, let's just begin and see where. So starting off here with a pesh. This is a Faber Castell. Black 199, same as the pencils, and I think even the pastels as well. Maybe it's all of them 199. That's the black. All right. I'll just hang on a minute. I'm going to pull up something else on the screen for myself. Right. All right. Here we go. So the first thing I'm going to analyse here, just looking at an overall face shape, and I'm going in this case to start roughly where the hair is. So I'm just going to kind of do this sort of motion. I'm doing the hair here at the moment. I do attempt drawings, differently at different times. Like I don't always have the same approach, and that's just to test out different ideas. And also sometimes some drawings it's just more suitable to start them from a different point of view. I don't know if you can hear that now. The rain just started. It's the wet season here in the tropics, and I was planning on going down the mountain, the range it's called here. We've had a lot of problems since the last cyclone. It's still not fixed, and it's pretty treacherous actually at times, potentially. So I was planning going this afternoon, also to potentially drop off an artwork down in Cairns. But just looking at the rain, it's not a good drive to be doing, particularly in wet weather, like heavy wet weather, to be going down there. So here I'm just, as you can see, just doing the braid here, and I'm not being too exacting on these things. As you can see, I'm not trying to get this picture perfect. And look, I can do that. There's a place for that for sure. But I think it's also good, just a bit of freedom, not having things too exact. I mean, it's still beautiful in itself, and also I think it helps us to get really connected in with our deeper selves. So we're not using our mind, our ego, to try to get in the way too much. That reminds me of a man I discovered, or a video I discovered recently on YouTube, and he was teaching a method of doing art as a spiritual practice. And I thought, okay, this sounds interesting. And I tried it, and I've still got the drawings. I should put them up. There was a lot of trash. Don't get me wrong. I'll explain to you in a moment what we did. But anyway, there were some good ones too. And basically, it's about trying to make a mark on the paper. You can use a brush or charcoal or whatever. I think the looser the better, because that's the whole point of this thing. It's supposed to be about really loosening things up. Just before I do that, I'm just looking here at where I'm going to begin here. So I've got this braid coming down here, and I'm just working out where I'll start. I think we'll go with this again. I'm not trying to go for exact here. Nonetheless, you still want it to look decent. That's what I was hoping for. So anyway, back to this spiritual practice thing. So it's about making a very quick mark on the paper. So I won't do it with this, but let's say you get a brush, you just go like that sort of thing. And by doing that, just letting natural things come out of you, you'd be quite amazed on some of the drawings you look at the end and go, wow, there's some good ones in here. And that guy had been doing it for a while, and a lot of what he was doing had quite a Zen look about it, quite a Japanese type look about it too, and very beautiful actually. And I really would say that's all within us, all of us. It's about loosening up and connecting in to that aspect of ourselves, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I tried it and I had some good results. And even if some of the ones I looked at, weren't perfect, I could still see potential with them to turn them into potentially other artworks. So just work with them. Anyway, it was a good practice to do. So it's about the loosening up again. So, and I mean, if you're watching what I'm doing, and I think I'm doing this at a reasonable pace. It's not trying to spend too much time on anything, but you can see that this is not really a perfect representation. I'm not even really spending much time looking at the overall drawing as I go. And this is a good practice, I think, in that regard, and in learning how to get good at both seeing shapes and objects, and then transferring that through skill and practice onto the paper. And really, the only way you're going to get good at that is by practice. So you can watch all the tutorials you like, and that's great. I like to watch things too and learn new techniques or ideas or whatever it may be. But also know that if I don't practice, well, I'm not probably going to get any better. It's unlikely anyway. Or maybe someone out there who's going to disagree with that. So I got great. I became a master. Just sitting around thinking about it. But I don't think that's probably going to be the case for most people. So we've got this nice hair that comes down like this here. So I'm just going to try to roughly work out where I want to come through on the bends here. So you get just a quick visual idea. Alright, so and with a lot of these models and things that I find now, I go on different websites. One of them is Pinterest, but I find one of the things with Pinterest, I may have brought this up in another video, is that it's got a lot of AI stuff on there now, which it never used to have as much. And I remember another artist talking about that on a video I saw recently, and I really paid attention to that. Oh yeah, you're right. And that's okay to a degree, but it's if you're trying to get accuracy, particularly with anatomy, you're trying to learn, well, it can really be an issue. So you just got to be really mindful that you're actually getting stuff that's real, because the anatomy can be off, which I brought up in another video about the hands, the AI hands, just hilarious. So as you can see, like, this hair is not accurate from what I've done here, so I'll just fill it in with a little bit of imagination. Now, even here you can see I'm off from the face. That's okay, we can just make things up. Part of being an artist, you get to say how things are going to be here. And as I was saying, it's just a part of the fun, really. So, and just learning. All right. This thing, I could have some hair coming down through this way too. I think we'll just leave that for a moment, and coming across here. And I know it's not, as I said, proportionally correct. However, it doesn't matter. I just want it to be a piece of art. It's nice, hopefully nice to look at the end. So I've moved here now to a 0.3 Copic marker. Oh, sorry, multi-liner, as they call it, fine liner. Now I'm going to try and put in these features. So up on the screen here, I have the image. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So these eyebrows, so it's got a bit of an angle like that, sort of. I would say, looking at this image up close, I think it might be AI. It could be. I'm only because I'm looking at, not hands, but her eyelid on the right eye. I don't know if you can see it on the screen there, but it doesn't look right. There's I'm not sure if I can zoom in on that on the screen I've got going, but she has like, it's like a double eyelid, you know. And okay, if you're really old or something, sure, but and it's only on one eye, so I'm thinking it's potentially an AI. Man, you just can't. It's just, and even looking at the eye now, the shape of it's like I've never seen an eye like that before. That angle and that look could exist, but it looks fishy. Anyway. Still pretty impressive though, in a way. I'm not saying it's good or bad, I'm not making a judgment, but it's just, look, whether you like the technology or not, it's pretty impressive, you know, and how it's going forward all the time more and more. See, because here, the other one, it has another it has another flap of the eyelid over it, and this one doesn't, so that's why I'm thinking, yeah, that looks off. So now when I do this, I'm going to put a little dot there for the pupil, and I'll expand and make that pupil bigger once I work out my highlights. Oh, there is a bit of a highlight on there, but I'll just make it up anyway. So I've got the iris, which is the coloured bit, and then we're going to put highlight, and then I'm going to make that pupil a little bit bigger. I will probably come back to that. Nostrils a bit bigger than I would have liked anyway. This is one of the great thing about you working with pen. As I said, if I was just using pencil, I'd probably rubbing things out, moving things around, or just whatever. You know, just putting lines over lines to get the shape. But when you do this, it's good practice because, well, we can't really rub it out. Some pens you can, but not these ones. I don't know if anybody remembers. I don't even know I've got one. There was an eraser, you might remember from primary school or high school, and it had two ends. It was generally two different colours. They may have varied. I can't remember what the colours, maybe red and white or blue. Anyway, and a lot of people didn't realise actually what they were actually two different rubbers for different mediums. So one was for pencil, but one was actually for ink. So if you had like a ballpoint pen, wouldn't be something like this. You could rub it out with a rubber. It was actually possible. So you didn't need all that liquid paper stuff necessarily. I don't really remember. I do remember doing it using. I can't remember if it was very that effective though. So maybe that's why liquid paper came out. I remember at school that was banned. You know, primary school. Well, you're not allowed to use whiteout. That's what they call it. I don't really know why. I kind of assume that so they can see if you're making mistakes, they know what you need to fix, and they can help you with that. Maybe. I had a guess. I don't know. It kind of reminds me too, where at school they used to say, "Oh, you got to work out how to do this thing because you know one day you'll be walking around and you won't have a calculator." Well, now we've got computers in our pockets, so that's kind of funny. Oops, that didn't. Now there's a mistake. But thankfully, the style I'm working on, it's going to be alright. Anyway. It's good to work with these things and see what you come up with. Again, using your imagination. The other thing too about this eye, I don't know if you can see it. No, maybe you can see it. There's a lot of eyelashes, very long ones right here. And look, that can happen. It looks a little strange to me. Generally, your longer eyelashes, you can get them across there too, but they're all short along here, right? Normally it would be flicking out this way. Again, it could happen, but it just looks a little strange to me, from a lot of the things I've looked at. So here I'm obviously adding some eyelashes, and when I do it, I'm doing it like a little J. So I'm I'm coming down and then flicking up. You know, you sort of, you pull away like that so you get a little bit of thinner line. So it just takes a bit of practice. And again, I'm just implying thing at the moment here with the eye. It's not fully closed. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It really depends. Suggestion can be sometimes far more powerful than actually doing the full line. That's kind of what a lot of caricature is about. I wouldn't necessarily call this a caricature. That nose, man. Oh gosh, what have I done? Nonetheless, got to keep working with it. We'll get there. Alright. Yeah. So again, I can see proportionally that things aren't 100% here. Nonetheless, again, just working with it. So, I reckon we'll put a side of the mouth there. Yeah, I probably should have done that different too. Anyway, on there now. Yeah, I'm looking at that mouth, and it again in the I think that's well, it doesn't look right. Something about this, it's not this side, but the other side. I'm just looking in. I was like, maybe doesn't look 100%. So we'll work out this bottom lip, and I wanted to give her a bit more of a smile. She's not really smiley at the moment, but I don't think I've gone around it the wrong way. I find it very interesting too, the transformation that can happen within a drawing. So if any of you have done some artwork and drawing or whatever it may be, painting, and because I've seen it many times on forums before, people not happy with their work, and look, art can have a really ugly stage sometimes for its brilliant. I can show you artworks, you'd be surprised, that I was like, I'm going to give up on this somewhere at some point in it. But then you see that I kept going, and it turned out to be one of the greatest, drawings or whatever it is I've ever done. And so sometimes it's good just to persevere, even when you feel like things are going to crap. I don't know, not always. I think it comes with experience. I know that sometimes I like to keep going on things, at least to completion. But I also know when it's time to call it a day with some artworks, and I've done that. So I'm like, no, it's too much work. Try and fix that. I like this nose. Oh man, I'm looking on the screen on the monitor. It looks even worse. Anyway, so I haven't drawn today yet, and it's my first drawing. Normally I draw in the morning, but it's been a busy day. And been a lovely day. Meeting up with some people, met some new people. It's always nice when they're nice, friendly, sort of similar-minded people. All right. I will come back to do some more stuff too, I think. But just looking around, we might get onto the hair a bit. Okay. Kind of feel like it's a bit flat on her hair too. Maybe we'll try a little bit lighter. And this thing about the line weight. So this is a very thinner pen weight. This is 0.3 versus, well, it's a brush pen, but it's quite thick, right? And The thicker lines bring things forward and make it more dominant. Now, if I had done these facial features in the same pen, it'd be very dominant. Now, it could be done if you want that. There's a place for that. And I'll probably come around and thicken some things up, but it's about subtlety and knowing where to place the right thing at the right time and right place. And that's coming from experience and a bit of practice, but it's just good to know about the effective line weights. So I need to make this screen a bit bigger for me. Alright. Yeah, her face is a lot longer, so I can see that now looking at it from... Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be representation, it's just a starting point. So now we can kind of get creative. I can almost just not... I could really just not look at that now. Alright, we're going to do that. I'm going to shut it down, and you can watch me. You watch my eyes. So along the lines of other artworks I've been getting into here, I'm just going to let it be a free expression of some kind. So we'll start with the hair. Now this is just flowing out of me. I'm not really thinking about it. I'm just feeling into it. That's what feels right. And I think that really ultimately as artists, that's a really great place to get to in life, is to just have this natural flow. And that's, you could say that about anything in life really. Oh wait, I'm going to look up, but I can't. Take it away. Perfect. I was just curious which way the hairs are going. I know you saw that, but I didn't see anything. It's not there. I'll just work it out. That was, yeah, it's default mode there. So what I'm doing here too, and I'm not doing an awesome job at the moment, but just moving the lines into the certain direction of where I want things to go. I've done it. I've made a mistake. I can see it already. But you can thicken up the lines here in different ways. One is just, let's say you do the first row of hair. It's a bit hard to see on this one. Then you can go back over with smaller ones, and it'll darken it, give it a bit more like a gradient almost, but on those lines. If that makes sense. Hopefully I can lead or show by example. So I've got certain spacing there. Now I come back in and don't go quite as far. Right, not go back around again, a little bit shallower, and that's one way of doing that. A number of ways to do that. And of course, I'll come back through later with one of my muckers. So it'll be a greyish, warm grey. And that was actually one of the things I was going to do too. I went down to Cairns today, was to buy some more markers. I've got a few, but I wanted to get a few different shades, particularly with the warm white. This is tricky here. Not really that tricky, but a little bit. Never mind. Doesn't really matter which way it's going. It's sort of a very creative piece. It's not about accuracy, and there's a place for that. I'm very impressed with people's skills and abilities in painting to make things very realistic. It's definitely a very good skill to have, skill set to learn that. But my general view is, not just in that area, but in general, is that if you get good at something, well, that's good. I mean, keep doing it, sure, if you want to, but it's also good to learn new things. And also, I feel that the I'll call it an issue, but maybe not an issue per se, but what I sort of see is with the hyperrealism, and I've gotten pretty close to that, I think, some of my drawing work with graphite and charcoal, is that if you keep on doing the hyperrealism, and that's all you do, and you don't try to bring in your own element of yourself, well, now your drawing looks like everybody else is doing hyperrealistic. So And that's okay, like it doesn't have to be different, but all what I'm trying to get is, it's a great skill to learn, get those skills, but then perhaps I want to break out a little bit. I can't remember who said it, was it learn the rules so you can break them like an artist or something like that? I'm not sure it's Warhol, Andy Warhol, I can't remember who said that, something along those lines. Pretty sure, otherwise I'm making it up. But I do remember that. So that makes a lot of sense to me, that you learn stuff, and then learn to break free of everything, and truly express yourself. And I've still got a lot to do with that too. Like I was saying to someone today, they got what I meant. That there was years, well, it's been many times as an artist doing certain paintings or series or whatever. And as much as I like them, oh, this is a really cool style or whatever I'm doing, I've said to people before, strangely for them to hear, they said, "Oh, I haven't done any painting in ages. I haven't done a painting in a long time." Like, what are you talking about? There's heaps of them. You got this and that. It's like, but yeah, they all feel very contrived. Like it's a bit relating to what I'm saying with this. They felt forced in a sense. I mean, there was an aspect of me in there, but it's I really wasn't truly expressing myself exactly. I had in my mind an idea of what I think I should be doing, and for whatever reason, maybe to make it saleable, perhaps. That's true. That's crossed before, and that's not a place you want to be, in my opinion. And speaking to other artists who said similar things, I used to know a comic book artist who was down here and he had a place in the market shop. He's not there anymore, but we used to have lots of chats, and he said that to me one day. He said he'd been doing all his artwork and he wasn't selling any of them. And what he realised was he was thinking too much about what people might want to buy, like the tourists. So it's a tourist market up here. And then he said, "You know what? I'm just going to do what I want to do." And then when he did that, he said, "Man, I just started selling all the artworks, all the whatever it was he was doing, and it makes a lot of sense to me, So I tried to stay in that, trying to get more in that all the time. Not trying, I am. Back in that flow, that breaking free, so to speak. And I think that applies to a lot of things in life, really. Even if you're cooking, the ingredients might say use this and that, this amount and whatever, and you might decide, well, I don't really want to do that. I want to add more of this or this and that. And I personally find that when I follow recipes, they're not that great. It's a good starting point, but then I embellish. I make changes and I create something of my own to some degree. And yeah, I think that's a good way of going about things. I used to be very big on making vegan cheesecakes, the cashews and stuff. I got quite good at it too. I haven't made any for, well, I don't know, it must be a month, maybe now. I used to make like about 3 a week, or 3 sets a week, or something like that. Sometimes. But, I was eating too many of them. There's no doubt about it. But I had to go at something else recently, a new dessert. It was using silken tofu, the really soft tofu. And that sounds gross to anyone who thinks tofu's gross. I mean, tofu doesn't have much flavour, so you got to give it something. All right, that's the whole point of it. It's ready to take on the flavours. So I made this. I don't even really know what you'd even call it. There's obviously a name for it. So basically, you put all the tofu in a food processor with like maybe a little bit of maple syrup, some vanilla, there's some peanut butter in there too. Can't remember what else, maybe a little bit of coconut oil or something. Anyway, I can't remember. Along those lines, it wasn't too many ingredients. Gave it a nice flavour. And then once you made that, you pour it into, whatever. I put it into these little ramekin things, and then no, that's right. No, it was. I put them into like a big square thing, and then you have to melt chocolate. So I bought this really nice chocolate, and it said to use 100 grams. Man, that was way too much. It's too much. I needed like probably about 40 at most, if that. So I did the whole 100. I was like, it's too much. And anyway, then you put that over the top, and it's just, and I put it in the freezer. I'm not supposed sure you're supposed to. I originally put it in the fridge, and it just wasn't that exciting. Put it that way. I'd try it again, but again, learning what I learned from the last one, and then embellishing on it. So. So I'm offering too, if somebody would like me to do their own drawing, I'm going to be offering that too. I haven't quite got that all set up yet, where you send me a photo of something and I can draw it here live. And then I can also send the original too to you. Excuse me. So that's the plan. I think it'd be great to see other people's wonderful photos and faces and what we come up with. And so if anyone saw my video from the other day, they would have saw that I had this another drawing I made a mistake with, and the hand, yeah, I made a bit of a thing about that. Anyway, that's kind of what's happening a little bit to this. Not as much. Things not quite that nose though. The hand the other day. Today it's the nose. So see how we go. It's getting a feel for as I look at it. Just flows through. And I encourage anybody who's thought about doing any kind of art too to have a go. And I know all the excuses, there's so many. I often draw pretty much every day down at the cafe, sitting around, having a coffee or two or whatever. And I meet a lot of tourists, I meet local people. That's nice. And I've had a lot of people, mainly, it's pretty much tourists that I can remember, that they like what I'm drawing, and they see me drawing something, and then they'll say, oh, I wish I could do that or something or other. It's like, well, you can. You can do this. And it's the aspect of art, or an aspect of art, should I say, is that it's just like learning an instrument or getting really good at, I don't know, some sort of sporting thing, hitting the ball of some kind, tennis, whatever. It takes practice, but it's a learnable skill. And what you're trying to do is coordinate what you're seeing with your eyes. Well, number one, you've got to learn how to see things, and then translate that onto paper or whatever medium you're using, and that's it. That's pretty much it. And it's a learnable skill, and it just takes practice. And there is techniques and little tricks here and there. And you could even do like a basic sort of cheap, art class. There's a lot of free stuff on good quality content too, just on YouTube, explaining a lot of things. And I know what I'm doing. It's not a full-blown tutorial. It's really just me wanting to share with you what I love to do. And if you learn something from it and enjoy it, well, that's great. That's really what it's about. So if you feel you can follow along and learn something from it too, well, even better. I just want to share with you what I love, and I think that's a really nice thing. People share their passions and whatever it may be. I had that discussion again today with somebody. I think that's really what matters in life, is sharing what we care about and love. And not everybody's going to care, but the right people come along and they appreciate it. And it's not even really about trying to say or show how great you are or anything like that. It's just ridiculous anyway. But it's just about sharing our love and joy of life. It's every day I wake up, I'm very grateful for the day, and it's something I heard one time, that I don't have to do these things in the day. I get to do them. I get to wash the dishes. That's great. That's a really great thing to do. Oh yeah, the mindset will be, I've got to do dishes. Like, change your mindset around it. You got to do them anyway. And it's not about pretending that you like doing things you don't like doing. But this ties into a lot of the Eastern stuff, all the philosophies that have been present, and well, amongst other things. But I read this book, well, most of it for sure, yeah. And I've got it. I don't have it anymore here. It's down in another state where I used to live, and it's called "Practicing the Presence" by a monk named Brother Lawrence, and he dedicated everything he did to the presence of whatever term you want, if you're atheist or whatever, to the presence of the higher mind within you, or if you're religious, whatever, whatever. This higher reality, this presence, whatever it is. So he's talking, well, in this sense, he was saying God, okay, and that's a very loaded term. So anyway, the point is that through dedicating what he was doing, to his, to God or whatever, even when he's cleaning the toilets, even when he was doing all the crap work in the monastery when no one else was really doing it, he didn't get bitter, because just this very act of doing this and really getting the flow and that making it a reality. I know, I can tell you from experience, it is true that the more you focus on that spiritual aspect and embrace it, and not as a theory but as a reality, you will experience it more. So anyway, that's what he was doing, and I think it's a good thing to do as well, is when you're doing things, or even just noticing how things feel on your body, the warmth of the water when you're doing the dishes, if you're doing them by hand, or even when you're standing outside hanging out washing, feeling the sunshine on you, or the breeze, or whatever it may be, whether it's be freezing cold or blazing hot. Because what gives us our sense of joy or experience of life is our senses. It's our senses that just give us experience. It's our sight, it's our sense of taste, and smell and touch, hearing, all those sort of things, the five senses. And that's why I think personally every day, and I do need to look up for a second because I'm coming down here and I want to see, it's different, I'm not cheating. I want to see where her neck is roughly. There's a bit of a line here, right here. That doesn't look right. Again, I'll leave that. Doesn't look right. I know I was just talking about something then. I've lost it a little bit. I got sidetracked there. Hopefully it'll come back to me in a moment. So I was just talking about, the senses. So food, that's right. So I know a lot of people don't really feel like making food and buy crap instead. Understandably, I used to do that too, a long time ago. So I get it. However, a lot of time we know all the things we buy, especially takeout stuff, not always the greatest. I mean, you can get healthy things, but there's the thunder. Let's be honest, a lot of people don't do that. I hope the power stays on. Man, I hope the power stays on. I'm gonna pause. I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna save it in case and I'll come back because power goes out. All right, I'm back again. I just thought I'll save what I've done and then see how we go. Because the power does go out here frequently, like when there's like storms. I live in a rainforest, a jungle rainforest. And so the trees go down, and there's landslides and flooding, and cyclones. Alright, so we're getting some good stuff going on here with the hair. I feel I need to just add a little bit more thickness in here. So going back to the food just for a second before I lose that trail of thought again. So the great thing about food, as I discovered, is you get to use all the senses are engaged in food. So the preparation, but you get to see all the colours, all the different things. Like you're making a salad, for instance, all the colours, textures, you feel that. You smell things, the tastes, obviously. Even the sound, like cutting things, the crunch when you're eating something. It's magnificent. What a great experience. And to spend time making something with love and joy, because you're just going to be eating that in a sense too, that good aspect of vibration. And that's not my opinion. There's stuff in that. There's plenty of evidence in that in different ways. It reminds me of the story I remember hearing. I don't know if it's true or not, but where this woman had gone to a restaurant and she'd had this really nice cake or something, and she gave compliments, asked for compliments to the chef or something, and said, look, could they ask if the chef would mind giving her the recipe? And the chef apparently came out or something, and he gave her the ingredients, and she said, oh, thank you very much. And then next time she was in town, she came back in, had it again, and said, you know what, I tried making that cake thing or whatever you told me about, and I followed it exactly till you said. She said, it just didn't taste the same, didn't taste as good. And he said, yeah, you're missing something. He said, you're missing love. Yep, and that's it. Love into things. I think we can see that in all areas of life too, and you can feel how different things feel when people are coming from a place of love. Well, you'd think so. Some people miss it. That's okay. It's part of their healing. Most likely, not always. Anyway. So just going here, what I'm doing. So I just put 3 little eyelashes there. I try not to do generally too many underneath. I don't think that's necessary. So here we go. We're going to come in here. Now we've done the hair. You know what? I was going to pause it, stop it again. I can join all this stuff back together later. I'm just concerned about the power. So when I get the internet on again, though, I'll be able to live stream these, which is great. You know what? I don't actually know what happens if the power goes out with this live streaming. Maybe lose it or what? So I have this pen. I need to find. I've got a few little fine lines ones. I had to throw out the other .03 Copic marker. It was just not working. It didn't work at all anyway. Stuffed. I've got a .05, slightly bigger, not by much. Staedtler, but I think it's getting a little low on this one. No, still got a bit ink. Alright. I have found too, anyway, the ones I've had with these really fine pens, is that it's go slow when you're working with them, because other little highlight there. I just find they tend to work better when you're going a bit slower. You try to do a really fast line. I don't know. They just seem to not always flow well when you go too fast with them. That's what I found anyway. It's either, actually my, the proper experience, or I've got crap pens. Actually, I will go back to the .3. Well, I've got to come down a bit more there. Whoops. See if we can fix it with that one. There we go. I was going to say it's our little secret, but not really. It's on the internet. Everyone's going to see it if they want to. Alright, little mistake there. Well, not really a mistake per se. It just didn't quite get, well, it was a mistake actually. Maybe it was a mistake. Alright. I think I kind of got that right, just about. Alright. We're going to deal with this schnoz. Alright, what we're going to do here, that's about the centre. The other thing I was going to say about food as well is that it's part of self-care, I think, to eat well. And I mean, you can prepare. I used to do this when I used to eat a lot of cooked food. Was I would prepare things and just put them in the freezer. Okay, so you always got something to take out. I don't use a microwave, so you can just take things out a bit earlier, put them in the fridge to frost if you're out all day, or just leave them on the bench. And then you can just heat it up in like a saucepan or a fry pan, whatever it is. Alright, we're sort of dealing with the schnoz a bit. Might have to come in some detailed work later. That's looking better, definitely. Putting these lines in there. And look at her face again. No, it's a bit different. Doesn't matter, I'm just going to leave it. Just going to put in, oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, when you want someone to look youthful, you want to minimise the heaviness of the lines and the amount of lines. The more lines you're going to put, start to make someone look quite aged. Alright. I noticed that when I did this on the last drawing, that it looks very Maori with the tattoos that they get on their face, very sort of tribal in that regard. Not meaning to, just sort of flowing that way. Now here as well. Oh, so there's more hair coming down here based on the photograph, so I may do the same thing. Otherwise I've got to work out where this, probably happens behind here where this dress bit is. Might modify that, I'll come back to that. You know, it's very interesting too, thinking about the AI stuff. Excuse me. That I know a lot of people are concerned about it in terms of art, that it's going to take over, and yeah, maybe to a certain capacity, but not. I think we'll have a potentially something will swing back around. So I think I mentioned in one of my other videos that I've experienced from selling that there are some customers who will buy prints and and or originals. They'll do one or the other, whatever they can afford or like or whatever. And then there's other people who just absolutely refuse to buy print. Oh, no way they'll ever buy one. And that's okay. I can get where they're coming from with that. What was I going to say about that? It's tricky sometimes chatting whilst I'm just in the zone with this. Oh yeah, so I found a study. It was a small one. It was interesting nonetheless. And what it was showing was they took, I don't know how many people it was. I'll stop for a second. They took so many people to look at an original artwork, and then they had also a printed version of that original artwork, the same one, and then they compared the data. So what they did was they had an eye tracking software, so watching the eyes where they were looking, and then had one of those ECG, I think it is, with all the wires coming off the head, so they can look at brainwave activity. And they found same image, original versus print of the same thing, that looking at the original stimulated the brain in certain parts of the brain up to 10 times more than looking at a print. So if you're doing AI, well, you're going to have to print it out, aren't you? So two things there. We've got people who are never going to buy prints, so they're not going to want that. They're going to want originals. They're going to want real artists. And I know there's people probably out there thinking about the technology and how technology now with robots and CNCs and that they can just emulate that, and maybe they can to a degree. I'd be very surprised how far those things can really go though, to be honest. But even so, even if that is the case, there's still going to be a market for people who want human stuff done by hand, you know. So I'm not too concerned about that aspect either. And anyway, the issues with AI in various ways too. It struggles with various things. Anyway, there's a place for it. Well, whether you like it or not, it's here. You know, and I don't think it's going anywhere at this point of time. The thing I look at it though, as an artist, is that, and I've played with it because it's interesting. But really, if I'm just using it exclusively to do every single thing for me, especially fun things, well, what's the point? I do art because it's fun and it's enjoyable. Why outsource that to a computer? You get some ideas and stuff, don't get me wrong. It can still be good for that. And I'm not saying copying them, but let's say you're trying to find a certain pose of maybe it's not the best example because we know how great it is with hands, AI art. Let's say you're trying to find a certain pose of a person. You can't find it on the internet. Well, maybe if you write in a prompt thing and put it in one of these image type generator AIs, maybe you'll get something that sort of looks like what you want. And a bit like what I'm doing now, this could be AI that I'm on the screen here. Again, I'm just using it as a bit of a reference point. It doesn't really look like it. I'm not trying to emulate it exactly or anything like that. And I know what I've done. It doesn't look as attractive as a young woman here, but you know, it wasn't really the point. And I know it looks a little bit glary too on the screen. And, you know, I've got to work on that. So anyway, AI, I don't think it's it's going to totally eradicate every single thing. There's always going to be pushback with those things too, for whatever reason. So I'm not concerned about it. I know there's plenty of people who value what I do and happy to pay for it. And I think I charge a fair price for what I do. Probably more than fair, really. You know, a lot of people don't realise how much goes into things, and it's amazing how much time you can put into a drawing. I going back to my comic book friend artist, for instance. He said he had people offering or asking to buy his originals of his panel drawings, and he said, look, you couldn't afford it. Like, if he really took into account the amount of hours he put into some of these drawings, and not just drawing it, you got to think about things and process a lot of things and inking it all out. Yeah, it was a lot of money. It wasn't like $50. I can't remember what it was, but it was, yeah. And I get it. And also, if you've ever tried art before, maybe you think it's, or maybe it isn't for you, you might not like it, but sometimes it could just be because we've tried using a medium we don't like. Maybe we tried a type of paint that just doesn't really work with us. You know? Maybe we tried watercolours and we found it too difficult, so I don't like art. But all mediums have their different appealing aspects about them. And I've tried many different things, and when I start a new thing, like, oh, this is really cool, loving this, and then I'll try something else, got this and better. So, and I like all things, they're all got their own little wonderful aspects. Due to my nature of having to, move a fair bit the last few years, I've moved away from painting a little bit. Not that I love painting, it just hasn't been very practical for me to be carrying around all the art stuff that's required, including all the paintings, until I sell them. So it's a lot easier with doing these sort of drawings for lots of reasons. It's just more portable. I think that's really what I'm trying to get at. Yeah, it's far more portable for me. But I'll come back to it again, paintings and stuff. It's got some festivals on again coming up this year later on. Again, still seeing starts because it closes down up here due to the rain during wet season, and then then we have a period of time where all the festivals on again. And I like to go there and I get in the gallery, which is great. Went to a very awesome festival. I think it was September last year. It was definitely the best one I've been to up here in far north Queensland in Australia. And it's called Mushroom Valley. What a great experience! What a really great festival to go to. And, definitely going for there again. I met so many lovely people and had some really great experiences there. These drawings I'm doing, I like them, just the simplicity of the ink, black and white. But also, I'd like to do some in colour. So I'll probably do that too on, if it's not this one, another one, or I may use pastels. Soft pastels? I think it is pastels, but I just say pastels. So Australian. We're funny with our language sometimes. From memory, I was told, I don't remember this myself because I don't think I was around when they came out in Australia. Peugeot, that used to be called, I was told when they first came to Australia, people didn't know how to pronounce it, Peugeot. So they used to call it Peugeot. That's so Australian as well. What I'm going to do, I am going to change pens here for a moment. So I'm looking at these lips. And there is a highlight on there. I'm going to pull up that. Look, I'm not cheating because I've already done the bit I was going to do. I want the highlight. Oh yeah, okay. Got a bit of an idea there. And similar to the eyelashes, I'm doing that little J thing under the lips there to give it a little bit of something, and it looks really cool. I'll do in a moment maybe when I add a little bit of grey. It's better to try and do, I think, one thing at a time, like doing all the ink now, then doing the markers. But maybe it's practical, but I'm also about more fun. If I'm in the mood for doing that, I'm going to do it, which it could be soon. I did miss that inner eye. Oh, here we go. I'll just put that there. I don't know if you noticed that there. I did quite a quick line with this finer thing and it didn't quite come out. I'm not sure that the camera caught that. So this will also be available for purchase for those that may be interested in that. Oh, I shall put a link where you can purchase it. So I'm in Australia, as I've mentioned, and I ship worldwide. Let's go to the teeth too. There's 2 teeth there, but I put a very fine line in here. There's already one bit of it there, but don't want to do the line all the way down. It's just to imply teeth. So you do the line right down, especially if you've got a lot of teeth. It looks strange. It does. It looks like you've got a wall fortress of teeth. I don't know how to describe it. It doesn't look great though. Alright, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to put a bit of grey on here. I'll try this one first. It's a bit lighter. It's a warm grey, which is good. And I'm just going to ink underneath the eyelid, across that, even across that highlight just a tad. So yeah, the reason I want to get more markers, I've only got a few, and I'd like to experiment a bit more with with using markers actually of all different colours and types, and seeing what I can maybe do. As I've said, I was looking at using colour pastels, and I probably will. But it's like, well, what else can I do? What else can I experiment with? You know? And you can use different mediums together, which I'll be doing essentially, because I'll be using pens, markers, and pastels together. You know, it's suggestive. I'm not really showing on the screen that well. Wondering if I'll turn off one of these lights. Just a minute. I don't know. You let me know. I don't look as bright. You know. I don't know. I don't think it makes much difference. A little bit. Yeah, maybe that lighting, I just need to adjust that a little bit. Just looks a little washed out on the screen. Anyway, you let me know what you think. So my plan is to do one of these a day and upload one a day, and I think I can do that. I think I can do that. Now I've said it aloud, people can hold me accountable. Saying, you said you were going to do this and you didn't do it. But I don't think that's going to happen, to be honest. Because I really like doing this, and I just want to share it with you. So as I said, I'm going to do it anyway. I try to make this as comfortable for myself as possible with recording. Because I really can get really in the zone. I usually have music playing, there's no music at the moment. I do try to add a little bit at the end, in the editing aspect. But um, the first two videos, should I say, and they are the last two so far, I didn't quite get that right. And I was going to pull up this again. Didn't quite get that right. And it sounded good to begin with, and then as the music went on, it was like, that's quite loud, quite drowning out my saying. So if anyone's noticed that, I am aware, and I will be rectifying that. So yeah, as I was saying, I just prefer to listen to music all the time, and it's a little distracting to have the cameras on, but also talking. I don't have to talk, I guess, but it may be a little bit boring, especially for me. I'm talking because there's no music on. You know, I'm sharing some things too, of course, but you know, I could sit here in silence too. I've done that, but it's just, well, thought I'd have a little chat with you whilst doing some creativity. So, as you may be noticing here, I'm not being too accurate or whatever with the markers. I'm applying things, and it's quite loose again. It's not necessarily very accurate with shading or shadows, but you know what, it gives the effect. And I think what I'm learning, or have learnt over the years with art, is that, at least from my perspective, is that just try and make things look really cool. Whatever, you know, whether it's realistic or not, just make it look awesome the best you can. And just keep on working on trying to make things look awesome. Then people go, oh man, that looks awesome, and they'll buy it. See, got the marketing down. Now the strategy. It's an interesting thing too. I'm sure any fellow artists out there may have experienced this too. I've experienced it myself, and I've read about it enough to know that it's not just me. But I used to get, you know, a reasonable amount of interaction with my channels, social media ones, and as time's gone on, it's just dropped off more and more and more. And I was like, okay, I'm not sure why. I'm not too concerned about it. I was just curious, you know, why is that? I don't know why. And the thing is, right, I mean, of course, I want people to be watching things, be nice, but you know, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter that much, because when I content create, I do it because I enjoy doing it. It's fun. Everyone watches it, enjoy it, and great. But you know, I do it for me, essentially. I really do. It's just fun, and I put up there. Oh well, maybe lots of people watch it, maybe they won't. It doesn't really matter. You know, it's not a sign of your own worth or how good your channel is and all that sort of stuff. Some people might say it is. That's one. Well, you could say that. It's one measure of looking at things. I look at things quite differently. Again, I'm not knocking anybody who's had great success in, well, anything really they've done that's you know, been of service to others and helped others in a positive way. So it's not that. I'm certainly very, very big, what do you call it, a cheerleader for people's success in life. You know, I'd like everybody to find joy within themselves too, and it's really what matters at the end of the day anyway, is a sense of fulfillment and joy and purpose in our lives. And I've had this discussion even again today. It's not a new discussion to me, and just about the thing of money. I mean, I'm not against it. I'd say I always try to make that clear with people. I've just seen in my life, I've had some money, not over the top or anything, but you know, quite comfortable, and whatever. But the one thing I've noticed, not just in my own life but with others, is that whether you got no money or all the money in the world or anything in between, I've seen people both happy and miserable, no matter what. Lots of money, no money. So it's not the money, right? Is it? It's something going on within you. So money's awesome to use. It helps us to, you know, do awesome things in life. But if you're seeking it in terms of sense of fulfillment and happiness, well, maybe you get it for a little while. I've seen it where people they think that that's the thing, and find, well, it's not that much happier. again, it's not the money itself, not because they had lots of money and not happy. Because I've seen plenty of people who've got no money and they're friggin' miserable. Absolutely. So the question really is, what do we want in life? And most of the time people say they want things, and look, there's nothing wrong with things. We live in a material world, nothing wrong with things. The problem I think comes in is when people say, I need this thing to feel a certain way. I need to be happy or whatever it is. And I have heard this in news agents and stuff where they do the lottery things, and I've heard this a number of times. People sort of say things along the lines of, gee, they say it in a joking, well, semi-joking way, and say, oh, if I win tonight's lotto, then I'll be happy. Then, hey? So what you're telling me is, you're miserable. And until you get that money, you're going to be miserable. And your chance of winning that money is not very high. So what you're telling me is you're just going to be miserable. That's how I see it. I don't think I'm wrong on that. So waiting for things, waiting for happiness is not great. And look, there are challenging times in life. Sometimes it's very hard to have happiness and joy. I get it. We go through some serious stuff sometimes in life. I've met some people who've, stories. Yeah, wow. So, I'm just trying to think about what to do here with the hair. I might do this. Yeah. Okay, a bit more of a Brady type thing. I know I've lost my trail of thought there a little bit. Maybe we'll come back. So I was just talking about happiness and stuff. Oh yeah, so what we want in life. But really anything we generally want in life, if you think about it, it's never the thing, the person, the place, the amount of money, whatever it is. It's not that. It's not generally that we want. It's how we think it's going to make us feel. We get involved in things because of how we think it's going to make us feel. We buy this thing because we think it's going to make us feel a certain way, and it might for a time. But then what? So really though, what you're wanting is the feeling. Okay, so when you realise that, and you know that you can create any feeling inside yourself that you want at any time, you can, through practice you can. Realize, well, I can just give myself that experience right now without having to do all that other stuff. Right? Now that varies, of course, because there's certain things you need to do to some degree with other people. If you want to have a family, well, you need other people to make a family. You need at least one other person to be able to get pregnant, or to make someone pregnant, whatever. So I get that. I'm not denying that aspect. But I was just thinking about I probably shouldn't get into too much of a thing to explain whilst I'm doing this, but but if you think about that from your own perspective, what is it you want, and why do you think you want it, and what feeling are you really going for? Like if you're like, say, someone who's quite codependent, which is not the greatest place to be honest. And I've been there in the past, so I know I'm not having a go. I have to stop for a second to think about what I was saying. I'll keep going because I've lost it. I'll come back. So, I'll give an example of. Yeah, so if you're codependent and you want to get in a relationship because you think it's going to make you feel a certain way, right? Maybe it's going to make you feel secure. Maybe it's going to make you feel wanted, attractive, whatever it is. It could be anything. But you're setting yourself up on shaky ground because you're waiting. You're looking for something outside of yourself to give you that thing. Okay, so let's say you get that thing and that person, and they're making you feel a certain way. But then something happens. They leave, you leave, whatever, right? Then what? Then it's gone, isn't it? You have just put those things that you wanted to feel on something external to yourself. So when those things are taken, so is that feeling, right? So the key is to find that within inside yourself. And I'm not telling you anything is different to any kind of general spiritual teachings are telling you this kind of this thing. all the spiritual teachers are essentially telling you the same thing. Look inside, look within. And I found that to be true. I have found that to be true, and others have found that to be true. And you can too. There's a lot to say about that. I'm not going to start that right now, especially when I'm drawing. Maybe I was just concentrating on what I was doing. Alright, so I've done the 0.3, I've done a lot of the work there. I haven't thought about yet what I'm going to do in the background here. Probably do some kind of landscape. Yeah, I'll stop that here. Also, I'm going to do for a moment, I'm going to break, so I'm going to stop this. Also, because I heard some more rumbles. I'm not sure they picked it up, and I just want to make sure that we're not going to lose it, the recording. Alright, I'll be back. Okay, I'm back, and as you may see, I adjusted this screen here to make it a little darker, so I hope that helps somewhat. Initially I did it and my hand looked really red because I put too much saturation. I didn't do that this time. I also got rid of that little image thing, so now you can see all my pens here. Oh no, I don't think we need to see her anymore. Alright, so we'll continue on. Wait, hang on a second. I don't know if you heard that. That was just, I was turning off my Bluetooth speaker. So I've got the 0.3 again. Actually, I'm going to put that one away. I'd like to look at this 0.05. So, if you wanted to give me any feedback about these videos, I'd really appreciate it. Constructive, of course. I don't want to see you whinging. But if you do say, hey, I didn't think this worked as well, and maybe you did this or something like that, I'm totally open to it. So, I've had like a YouTube channel for many years. I just put random stuff. I never really took it very seriously a lot of the time. And I've decided, I want to start putting some effort into things. And that's a lot of fun. Well, not so far. It's already fun. It's going to be more fun. It's not like it's so far fun and it's not going to be later. I'm having fun. And I just wanted to, really just take it more serious. To be more intentional with, I guess, some sort of schedule or routine, which is something I haven't done with it really. And I've had so many random things. I was thinking about starting a new channel, and I thought, whatever, I'll just keep going with it, but I'll see what happens. So here is going to get tricky. I want to rotate the page, but I'm trying to keep it upright for you as the viewer, but I want to come in here. So normally I'm going to do it. I'm going to rotate it. Right. I was trying my best to keep it straight. Yeah, sometimes what you need to do, just rotate it. Makes it a little bit easier for yourself. One of my favourite things to to do, or draw, or paint, whatever, has always been, female, particularly hair. I find that really interesting to do. Even though in this one I haven't tried to capture it accurately, it's something I really enjoy looking at. It's just all their folds, textures, the light. It's beautiful. Just thinking now with my posture, I like to stand up and do art sometimes. I haven't done it in a while, especially because, well, I don't really have things set up with the drawing at the moment. You can use an easel and set your drawing up there. I just haven't, I haven't done that. But what I like the looks of is those desks that you can push down, like hydraulic, and then make them stand up, so you can stand or sit, whatever you're feeling. They're really cool. I'd love one of those. I really would. Um, I haven't got one at this point in time, just due to the nature of moving around so much. Um, but yeah, if I was somewhere permanent, for sure. Love it. So I'm going to do what's called dot dipping here in the eye, which is just little dots. And the closer they are together, the darker it looks. I didn't go too overboard with it, but I don't know, I feel it adds a little something special. I like it anyway. When I was in high school, in graphics class, I remember, doing a lot of drawings with dot stippling. I quite enjoyed it. I know a lot of people find it very tedious. I like that sort of thing though. Not everything tedious, but just I don't really know what you'd say it is exactly, but just the really detailed style. I mean, you could say this is quite detailed too in a way, in the similar lines, but I mean, it could be more detailed. Yeah, I don't know. I find it quite therapeutic. I guess it's very, I find it very relaxing. So what I'm doing here now, just at the moment a little bit, I've got these lines down. So the trick is to look at what you're going to thicken up and to give it a bit more, read a bit differently. So you see down here, everything's pretty much the same lines, and it's sort of gets a little bit lost in there, right? So if I start thickening things up, it'll make it read again a bit better. Subtle as it may seem, very effective. And then if we add a bit of shading too, and I have another brush pen, that's a dark grey one, which I'll come out with in a moment, and that's quite good because it helps me get into some of the finer details, which this bigger pen, it's not so easy on a smaller drawing like this. Bug down there, didn't know what it was. Thought it might have been a white ant for a second, like a termite, but it was just a little, I don't know, fly around thing. What's been interesting since I've lived up here in the tropics is it's the first time I got to see fireflies, and it's lovely. I really love it. And you know, sometimes you're in your bedroom at night and they're flying around. Little LED lights with wings. It's really wonderful to see them. And one night, I remember I was curious. I thought, well, all I can see is a little flashy light thing. I thought, well, I want to see what one looks like, you know. And then when I turned on the light and I had a look, it looks nothing at all like I thought it would look like a firefly. It just looks pretty, you know, just standard, you know, bug type thing that's not really anything much to get excited about. Like, it's not all colourful or anything like that. But yeah, it has that magical little, you know, flashing, I don't know if it's its bum, I don't know what it is. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Very magical looking. Alright, I've got to change pens, that's too thin for this. what I may do actually, or might be pushing it. Hang on, we'll go with the brush, just the grey one for a moment. I was going to do something else with the darker black pen brush here, but you can. Oh, we'll see. We'll see. So this is a darker grey, not by much. So what I'd like to do, leave that. I'm going to put a tiny little speck of this, just on the iris. It helps to accentuate the highlights. You can probably see that. Well, maybe you can. I can. I'll take a photograph at the end of this because I don't know if this is doing it justice on the camera screen. But I can just imagine these ink drawings doing your markers in different colours. That's why I want to get some. Just see the colours. Pretty excited about it actually. I'm going to do a test I think first. What I'll do is I'll photograph or scan this drawing in, and then I'll do just a printout on maybe just some basic copy paper, it doesn't really matter, and just do some experimentation with colour so I'll get an idea. Because if I'm putting colour on here, I've already done a lot of work on it. I don't want to mess it up. Although there is an aspect too, I should just go for it. Kind of what I'm doing with the ink. But I think really, I'm happy to do that to a degree. I just think I need a moment just to experiment a little bit, really, and just sort of see. And then once I get a feel for it, I think it'll work well. I don't think we can see that darker. So you can kind of see it. Yeah, I think you can. I think you can pick it up. So yeah, as I was saying, I'm putting more energy into this channel now. I find it, for me personally, it's a personal thing really. I find it very rewarding just to share what I do with others. It's not even about validation in terms of, everybody praising me. I just don't care. But I like to, it just matters to me to share what I do. Not looking for any particular praise or anything like that, it's not that. It's just what I do, it's what I am. And I had the other day, I sit at cafes quite a lot and some real benefits in that, but doing some drawing and some tourists here, and there was this Indian family I was talking to, but there was seven families travelling together. I thought, wow, that's a lot of people. And knowing how big the families are, generally. So anyway, these young kids, one of them had just snuck up on me. I didn't know he was there. He was just sort of standing behind my shoulder, and I sort of turned, and he's having a look, and then his brother or cousin or whatever it was came over too, and they're really interested in what I was doing, and I was talking to them as I was doing these things, showing them, teaching them things, and the parents are there too. And I thought, what a lovely experience to share that with people. Sometimes people have never seen anything like that before. Live or anyway, it's not up to me really to say how other people experience or interpret things. All I can say, well, I'm just sharing what I do. I hope you like it. I hope you like it, and I hope it's inspiring and something. Even like when tourists come, I like to give people little gifts sometimes. Talking to a random stranger, and sometimes I have some of my greeting cards. This is the black and white ones. Different to this though, more realistic ones. And it's just, I'd like to give those people, because to me it's like, well, these people are going on holiday for an experience. Alright, so why not give them a good experience? Why not give them some good memories? Say, hey, we met this guy and we had a chat, blah blah, and or whatever it is, As I said, at the end of the day, for me personally, it doesn't make a difference really. That overall, I mean, I like to do it just because it's a nice chair. But you're giving these people a story, ain't you? A good story, of some kind, whatever it is. And that's really the secret to life, in a sense. That to feel fulfilled in life, it's not by what we get personally, it's by what we give. And that's also a spiritual lesson. Or teaching. Teaching. And there's many different things I've heard about this, whether it come from the East or even the Bible or whatever. You'll hear, this great wisdom. But even the Eastern stuff, great masters, the idea of if you want to be given everything, give everything up. That doesn't mean you don't have a nice home or anything like that. It's not that. But the idea of certain things, like that you need X amount, or there's certain things or whatever to feel a certain way. I feel very fulfilled in life, and I don't want more stuff. I kind of want, in some ways, less stuff. I just want the things that really matter, And as long as we've got food, shelter, a little bit of comfort's nice too. It doesn't have to be over the top. Just a little bit of comfort. And I've got my art supplies and a little bit of nice area, nice people around me. Pretty good. Don't know what else I need. I don't need a Rolls Royce or anything, or I don't need the latest, I don't know, whatever. Again, I'm not saying don't have those things. You can still have all those things, It's just being aware of, where you're at with in terms of how you're utilising them or having those things in your life. If you're doing it because, again, it's a safety thing of some kind or whatever it is, and if it's gone then you wouldn't feel very good, well, you might want to look at that. You don't have to. Sometimes though, life has a way of putting us through things where we learn these lessons anyway, in one way or another. I've had a lot of that sort of stuff. Thankfully, I'd already spent a lot of years studying and putting to practice a lot of spiritual things and philosophies, great philosophies, teachings, even the the Buddhist type ideas of non-attachment. So, yeah, it's a very interesting experience when I went through all that. I don't get into that now. I'm not trying to get down about it or anything. It's just interesting. If anything, I found it quite a liberating experience. Having to let go of things when I had really no other choice. Everything, pretty much. But as I say, every loss is a gain. You just got to find it sometimes, and then that comes from, excuse me, you're changing your perspective. I said this to someone today, or a couple of people today, that changing our perspective of the same thing can give us a very different experience of it. So I just gave a rough example so they can get what I was saying. But for instance, if I'm looking at a tree way in the distance, maybe all I see is a silhouette, okay? But then if I walk right up to that tree, I'm going to see all its bark and all the details, leaves, whatever. So I'm still looking at the same thing, but depending on where I'm standing, my perspective, I'm having a different experience of what the tree looks like. So we can apply that to our own lives and change our perspective. It's a big topic, I guess, in some ways, so many different things I could bring up. But even matters at the heart, people who betray us and all these sort of things, things that hurt. That's especially when it's a useful time to look at things differently. Anyway, maybe I'll come back to that in a second. But I need to look at this now because I'd like to do a background. Question is what? So we don't have a lot of space. I think I'll put a moon in there again, or a sun. I think probably a moon. Just feeling the moon vibe at the moment. It's gonna use a little round thing got over here. That might be good. I'd have a bit of handing on, which is good too. Let's see. Do I want to mix accuracy with? That looks pretty cool there, though, doesn't it? I'm sure it's plastic. It makes it look cool, but maybe. So squint my eyes to sort of work that out. No, I don't know about that. Maybe. I'm not convinced yet. I think we'll on the background. So okay. So what I'm going to do now is establish my horizon line where it may be. I think I'm really just intuitively feeling into it a bit. What feels right? What feels like a good spot? And again, remember, I'm not using a pencil, so I need to get it, think about it. And that's the great thing about using these pens, permanent markers and pens, is you need to take a moment to think about what you're doing to some degree. I haven't done with everything, but some things. Like filling in the patterns, I haven't done that. Alright, I'm just going to put a line here. Maybe. All these different ideas in my mind. We have established something though. I kind of feel like it'd be lovely to do what I'm doing here. Put a river. I'm not trying to work out the river here at the moment. What I was thinking about was perhaps having like a little clip thing, so you can kind of feel like she's higher up. Might not look like it there, but we'll see how we go. We can make a little illusionary thing there to make it look very impressive. The river through the hair, too. Alright, so that line didn't end up being the horizon line. But you know what? We made a decision and we went with it. Perhaps did this a little bit too thick here. So as you can maybe see what I was talking about with line weights earlier. So this is now, it's quite thick. So it's thicker than these lines. In a sense, it makes it stand out more. And it's sort of, you might not notice it, but it sort of brings it forward a little. So I'm going to have to thicken these up. I just want to say too that you may notice here, or may have already noticed how much my hand is resting on the paper. I generally put something else down, even when I'm going to work certain materials. I'm not so concerned with oils on my hand and with the ink and that. It's especially my hands are clean beforehand, but what can happen is if I was using, say, pastels, that little oily blotches you can't see with your hand, but it's only until you start trying to colour in, you start knowing, oh man, what's happened? Like it's what are these oily blotches? So if I'm working with pastels, and yeah, I would be definitely using something under my hand. But you know, it's probably good practice really anyway. And you know, even though I'm saying that right now, I'm not doing it, so but you should do it. That's it. It's one of those things, you know. Do what I say, not what I do. Not really. I don't really believe in that at all. Okay, so yeah, so you can see I've thickened that up a bit, so not just in terms of the lines, but it's given more definition and pulled forward with these hatching lines, a bit of a shadow. You know, I think it'd be nice to have a moon, maybe, or some clouds. I've got to sort this out down here because I'm not quite happy with all this down here yet. That thick line there, oh, yeah, it'll come to me. It'll come. It's like a puzzle, you know, which is great to do something and then think, oh, I've got to resolve that now. Hopefully I'll be finishing this very soon because I am feeling quite hungry. It's almost, it's getting quite late actually for dinner. But I only generally eat one meal a day. Generally, I generally have dinner. And I've been doing that for many years, and I find that really great for me personally. Everybody's different. Everyone's got their thing about it. I've tried many things over the years. Even things if I hear something for the first time, I think, oh, that sounds a bit strange. I'll do some research on it, especially if I say find a YouTube video and someone talking about something. Okay, that sounds a bit strange, and then I've never heard that before, and then I'll go into the comments, and if I'm getting a lot of really positive feedback about people saying, oh, I did this thing or tried it, and blah, oh, I'll give it a go. And that's sort of what happened with intermittent fasting. I was a bit unsure about that a long time ago, and I thought, well, I'll give it a go. I was like, oh, well, this is pretty good. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm all for it. And this do it health-wise. So yeah, I haven't quite worked out what to do here. I mean, this could be like a little lake, but there's this line here, which was going to be the river, and that sort of doesn't make sense. Although, it could. What we're going to do, we're going to turn that, hopefully, into something very exciting. Well, maybe we're pushing it a bit. Maybe not exciting, but a little bridge. Maybe we can make a little bridge. Over the river. Alright. Something like that. A little path coming up there too. That was red as well. It doesn't read quite as well as I was hoping. Nonetheless, we haven't finished. There's plenty of hope to make this just work just perfectly. If anything, we've created something and I've had a lot of fun. Well, we, meaning myself. And you get to watch. However, I've created something and I've had a lot of fun. And I hope you've been enjoying it too. Listening to me go on about my opinions about things, filling up your head with my ideas. Well, maybe not filling up, but... Well, no, maybe some of you, who knows? You know, I hope it's positive and I hope it's received well. So there's some of that dot stippling I'm doing again. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. Cool. And you might notice, you may have already noticed, that there's a watermark on the video, and it's to do with a little plug-in thing that I downloaded the other day, so I could actually be able to use my mobile phone, which is a Samsung S10, to use it as a almost like a webcam, really. So I plugged it in USB into this OBS Studio, which is free, but then there's another plugin called, it's called, hang on, DroidCam. Oh, there it is, DroidCam. It's called DroidCam, and there's a free version which I'm using, hence the watermark. But it's not that much. I think it's $20 US for a lifetime, whatever, which is pretty good. You know, it's great to support people with making cool tools for us to use, and so yeah, I wouldn't have been. I tried to use other apps and plugins that just didn't work for me. So when this worked, I was like, oh, this is cool. So I wanted to test it before I bought it, and so now I can look towards purchasing it. So this hasn't quite worked as well as I was hoping here at this stage. Maybe. Definitely thickening it up is going to help bring that line a lot more forward. So kind of almost, not quite there. I don't know what I'm going to do with that actually. We'll come back to that. Not quite sure yet. And a moon. Put the moon over here. Oh, that feels right. She's looking this way. Probably not. I mean, she doesn't have to be looking at it. Even if I put it there, she's not going to be looking at it. Let's try this again. Maybe. I just don't know if it's a little bit too big. Anyway, I'm going to drop by hand. I'm going to go with... I'll start with this pen. I hope this works. No, I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to go to 0.3. No, change my mind again. No, I am going to try it with this one. I'll just go slow. All right. Working out here, in my mind, I'm seeing invisible lines with hidden things trying to work out composition. I'll plan that out with this initially. See. Maybe I was going to put it higher, a little lower, or here. Don't want too much dead space. So if I put it up high, well, that'll probably be okay. That'll probably work alright there. Put it here, gives a different sort of feel. But then do we have too much open space, is what I'm thinking, right? And I don't know if I really want to fill that up with clouds above the moon. I think I'd rather it the other way around. So here we go. As I said, can't rub it out. So what do I decide here? I was curious about her eyes too. They're sort of pushing it that way. Alright, here we go. It's not round. But I'm glad I used a thinner pen, I'll tell you that much. Well, that's pretty cool. I know it's not perfect, but hey, you know, it's a hand drawing. It's really about the feel, the energy. And that's another important aspect about art too. Might not mean a lot to a lot of people. Think, oh, it's nonsense. Oh well, whatever, I'm going to say it anyway. The energy that comes off a drawing and what you have in your home, that's important. You know, when I put a lot of love into things and just in my heart in general, and I think that comes through in my artwork. So, in a sense, just having that, or anything really, just artwork or whatever, someone's really put a lot of love and intention. Well, that's in there. You know, it's the same with food, as I said earlier, about somebody who tried to make this recipe and didn't taste as good, and the chef said, "Well, did you put love in it?" sort of thing. The missing ingredient. And I have found that to be true as well. You know, I know a lot of people who don't do things based on if they're in a bad mood, like they don't want that to go into what they're doing. Energy of that makes sense to me. Anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap this up here. I really hope you've enjoyed, you know, watching me do this and listening to me go on about whatever. So as I said, I plan to do this, well, daily. So I think it's taken maybe a couple of hours to do this, and I haven't quite finished. Well, I say I'm finished, but I kind of feel like I want to put a bit more detail in the face, maybe a little, just a little. Anyway, I think I'll leave it here, and if I do a bit more, you're not going to see it on camera. We'll see a little bit, and I am going to take a proper photograph, and I'll put it at the end of this video anyway when I compile it all. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Have a joyful day wherever you are, and you know, may you just be blessed with a lot of peace and joy and happiness in your life.